My wife cheated on me with my business partner and left me for him, but later she faced a major disappointment. My ex wife, Katty, is 38 years old, and we were together for 19 years, 16 of which we were married. We also have a 14-year-old daughter together. But about 6 months ago, she left me to be with my work partner, or rather, my former partner, because he sold his share and left the business after I found out about their affair. Leon was once my colleague, and over time we became good friends, so we decided to quit our jobs and start our own company. We worked together for 5 years, and for 3 of those years, he was sleeping with my wife. I found out about it 6 months ago from a text conversation on my wife's phone. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it and simply confessed everything. She said she was tired of hiding it and that she had wanted to leave me for a long time. I was heartbroken. I couldn't even imagine that she was unhappy in our marriage. If I had known, I would have done everything to fix it. On the day I exposed her and she said she was leaving, I even offered to try to work things out. It was pretty foolish of me, but I was desperate. She got irritated and said she only married me because she got pregnant by accident and was afraid of being alone. She tried to love me for all those 16 years, but it didn't work out. Now she had found a man she truly loved and wasn't going to let me keep her locked up. She said that since the truth was out anyway, I should just accept it and let her go. It hurt me terribly, especially because of our daughter, but Caddy didn't even hesitate before leaving. She filed for divorce, and the process was fairly straightforward for her. She just wanted to leave. She didn't ask for alimony or any payments, and the division of assets was quite fair. So a couple of months later, we finalized the divorce because I came to my senses and realized that after everything that happened, I couldn't be with her anymore. I spoke with Leon, and he just apologized and said he had wanted to tell me about it for a long time, but didn't know how. A couple of weeks later, he quit and told me that he and Caddy were moving away because they didn't want to cause me any trouble. Besides, Caddy had been offered a great job in Boston, and his cousin also lived in Boston, so Leon could just work with him. He wrote all this in a letter, and we haven't spoken since. The last time I saw Caddy was 2 months ago, the day our divorce was finalized. Since then, I haven't heard from either of them. It was tough for me and my daughter, but we managed somehow. At least I still had the business to focus on, which kept me distracted because, despite everything, I wanted to give my daughter the future she deserves. About a week ago, Caddy showed up again, and I'm still not sure if my daughter and I handled it correctly. It was around 11:00 p.m., and someone started ringing the doorbell frantically and pounding on the door. My daughter was already asleep, and I was finishing work in my office. We both rushed to the door, and looking out the window saw it was Caddy. My daughter asked me not to open the door. She's still very hurt by her mother. Although Caddy has partial custody, she hasn't even tried to reconnect with her. Because Caddy cheated on me, my daughter's attitude toward her mother has worsened, so their relationship is pretty bad right now. But I understood that if Caddy came to me at that hour, something serious must have happened. I opened the door to let her in, but instead of coming inside, she started yelling at me from the doorstep saying she'd sue me and take everything she's entitled to. She shouted that she couldn't believe I'd punish her so cruelly. For the first couple of seconds, I had no idea what she was talking about and asked her to calm down and explain because I was completely confused. But she was still furious and said I shouldn't pretend I didn't know, as she was sure I deliberately didn't tell her about Leon's true nature to punish her for cheating. Then she rolled up her sleeve and showed me a spot on her arm with a bandage. I immediately realized Leon had done something, and that shocked me too. We worked together for years, and he never even raised his voice at anyone. Caddy told me that in the last couple of weeks since they moved to Boston, they were constantly arguing, and things had gone wrong from the moment they arrived. At first, she thought Leon was just trying to adjust to the new life, But even after a whole month, he kept acting like everything was her fault. He constantly blamed her for ruining his life because he had to abandon the business he worked so hard on, and now he had to work with his cousin who constantly humiliated him. Leon blamed Cady for all of this because she was the one who told me about their affair before he was ready, and because of her job, he had to move quickly. So he couldn't stay and fight for the business. They argued every night, and during one of those arguments, he completely lost it and threw a vase at her. She tried to dodge it, but it still hit her arm and she got cut. Before that, he had only verbally insulted her, but now things had gone too far. That same moment, Cady left the house and took the nearest flight to talk to me about it. She said Leon didn't even try to contact or apologize after she left. She said she blamed me for everything because, in her opinion, I knew about his aggression, but deliberately didn't tell her to get revenge for her cheating. She thought it was a horribly cruel act on my part, especially since, in her words, she did me a favor by not demanding anything during the divorce. I should have at least cared about her safety. That was just nonsense because, as I said, I worked with Leon for years and knew him well, but only professionally. At work, he was a completely different person. I didn't live with him, and I only saw the women he dated a couple of times, so I had no chance to know about that side of him. Her accusations that I knew and hid it on purpose were pure nonsense, and it infuriated me that she acted like I owed her something. I tried to explain that I had no idea about his character outside of work, and said I was genuinely sorry for what happened to her, but in the end, she was the one to blame. She could threaten me with a lawsuit all she wanted, but deep down, she knew I had nothing to do with it. But Cady wouldn't stop, kept insisting that I knew everything, and that now she was going to fight for everything she didn't claim during the divorce. All this time, my daughter was standing by the door, and I completely forgot about her because I was so caught up in the argument. But when we started going in circles, she interrupted Cady and told her to leave. I was a bit surprised because I didn't expect my daughter to step in. It seemed to throw Cady off too, but then she snapped at her to shut up and stay out of it, because she was too young to understand what was going on and ordered her to go to bed. But my daughter refused. She stood her ground and said Cady had no right to talk to me like that, especially after everything she did to me. She reminded her that for the past couple of months since I found out about the affair, I was completely broken, but Cady, selfish and heartless, just went on with her new life. Then she reminded her mother that she didn't even visit her or try to stay in touch because she was too busy with Leon and her new life. My daughter told Cady that she failed as a wife and as a mother, and that she had no right to stand there acting like a victim in a situation she created herself. My daughter is only 14, but hearing all this, I truly realized how much she's matured because of the divorce. Cady had no response, and then my daughter said one last thing since Cady left, and is now with Leon. She should deal with whatever happens to her because we're no longer her family. She dug her own grave, so now she should lie in it. That's exactly what she deserved for ruining the lives of the people closest to her. After those words, my daughter slammed the door in Cady's face and went to her room. I heard Cady crying outside, but I didn't even go out to check on her. After everything that happened between us, there was no need for that. I went to bed and tried not to think about it. The next couple of days, I focused on work. I was very proud of my daughter for standing up for me and not letting me break down in front of Cady. After that visit, everything seemed to be going fine, but 3 days ago, Cady showed up again, this time with a lawyer, to demand full custody of our daughter. Fortunately, that evening, my daughter was with her friends, so I haven't told her yet. I was furious when Cady claimed that after the way our daughter spoke to her last time, she decided she wouldn't let her live with me anymore. She said the real reason she didn't try to stay in touch with our daughter after I found out about the affair was that she didn't want to get dragged into a long custody battle and make my life even worse. So she supposedly left quietly and didn't contact our daughter. She claims she knew I was on edge back then, and her involvement in our daughter's life would have made things worse. In other words, she tried to say she did it all for me, not because she wanted to shirk responsibility. Naturally, I didn't believe her and told her straight the only reason she didn't fight for anything during the divorce, especially custody of our daughter, was that she wanted to leave as quickly as possible and start a new life with Leon. It had nothing to do with me as she tried to make it seem, so I had no reason to feel guilty. But Kadi said she didn't care anymore, because now she wanted full custody of our daughter, and would definitely get it. She said she wouldn't let me ruin our daughter's view of her mother by filling her head with nonsense and disrespect toward her own mother. According to her during our last meeting, our daughter was extremely disrespectful to her, and I, instead of intervening, encouraged that behavior. So now she knew what to do and came to tell me she was going to sue. I said, go ahead and slam the door because I didn't want to talk to her anymore or waste my time. But now I'm starting to wonder if maybe she's right about something. I want to believe I'm doing the right thing, but honestly, I'm not sure about anything anymore. Before we move on to the update of this story, I suggest you write your opinion in the comments right now. What do you think? Is the author acting correctly or not? I think he's probably right. At least I can't think of any reasons why he might be wrong. So if I haven't missed any details, the author seems completely in the right. Now, let's find out what happened next. Update 1. I decided I have nothing to apologize for. My daughter did the right thing by standing up for me, and the comments helped me realize how foolishly I was acting. Caddy cheated on me, and I don't owe her any sympathy or regret for what happened to her. Many people in the comments wrote that I should talk to my daughter in advance, in case Caddy decides to file for full custody, so it doesn't come as a surprise to her, especially after our last meeting. So yesterday I talked to my daughter and told her everything. I didn't want to hide anything from her. She's already proven to me that she's mature enough to handle this, and yes, I feel a bit sorry that she had to grow up so fast. But at least now I can prepare her for the future. So far, we haven't heard anything from Caddy, but we assume it'll happen soon. Our daughter is 14, which is old enough for her opinion to be considered in court, if it comes to that. It's better to settle everything through mediation, but just in case I wanted to make sure she really wants to stay with me. And obviously she does. She made it very clear that she wants nothing to do with Caddy, at least for now. She said that in the future she might consider rebuilding a relationship with her mother, but right now it hurts too much. She clearly blames her mother for destroying the family, and I can't deny that. I don't want to be the father who turns his child against his ex-wife just out of resentment, but in this situation I don't think I had to do anything. Caddy managed that perfectly on her own because now our daughter just doesn't want to talk to her. They used to be quite close, so this is a sharp and painful break for her. By the way, many people asked who told our daughter about the affair. It wasn't me, it was Caddy herself. She wrote about it to our daughter in a letter a couple of days after moving out without even bothering to ask if I was okay with it. My daughter was very upset when she found out the truth, and still wanted to talk to her mother at least once, but Caddy refused. When I tried to contact her to say that our daughter wanted to talk and discuss what happened, Caddy said she didn't want to discuss it with her because she was too busy with the divorce process. Besides, she thought it wasn't something worth discussing. She had already written everything she wanted to say in the letter and supposedly had nothing to add. I tried to convince her to talk to our daughter at least once because she clearly had a lot of questions, but Caddy was adamant. After that, she completely stopped communicating with us. So our daughter's view of her mother changed drastically, and in my opinion, it's unfair for Caddy to blame me for that. In any case, I talked to my lawyer and we'll be ready. Update 2. A couple of days ago, I finally received a summons regarding Caddy's full custody case, and my lawyer and I immediately filed an objection. Tomorrow, we have a meeting scheduled with a court mediator. Today, Leon called me. I was pretty surprised by his call since we had no reason to talk, but I answered anyway. As soon as I picked up, he said he wanted me to give Caddy back to him. He said he'd been trying to reach her for the past couple of days, and was sure she must be with me, or at least had spoken to me. He wanted me to tell her he was looking for her. I replied that I didn't know where she was living now. Yes, we had indeed spoken in the last few days, and she was here to fight for custody of our daughter. I did this not for Leon's sake, but because I thought, what if he talks to her and manages to change her mind and convince her to come back? Ideally, he might even persuade her to give up her rights to our daughter. With that thought, I told him everything and added that she was very upset because he didn't even try to contact her after that evening. If he really wanted her back, he should hurry up. The poor guy didn't even suspect he was being manipulated, so it worked out quite well. I just hoped Kadi still wanted to be with him, and when he showed up, she'd decide to go back to him. I told my lawyer about this plan, and even he thinks I did the right thing because, although the situation is already in our favor, saving time and nerves is never a bad idea, especially if it helps settle the matter before court. Update 3. 2 days ago, Caddy and I had our first mediation session, and of course, everything went wrong. She didn't agree to any of our conditions and said it was a waste of time, then ended the meeting in less than half an hour. After she left, I picked up my daughter from school, and when we got home, Leon was already waiting for us on the porch. He looked awful, and I could easily imagine how he got to that state after a couple of months with Caddy. I told him to leave because my daughter and I had just gotten home and wanted to rest. We didn't have the energy or desire to deal with another drama, and I had already done everything I could for him. I wasn't going to bend over backward for the guy who slept with my wife behind my back. But he just broke down crying and said that after their last fight, Caddy didn't respond to any of his messages, and he had no idea where to find her. I told him I still didn't know where she was living and couldn't help him. He just sat on the porch steps and sobbed, covering his face with his hands. At that moment, all this drama was really starting to annoy me. This guy, along with Caddy, ruined my life, and now he felt comfortable enough to ask me to help him find her so they could reconcile. I told my daughter to go inside so I could handle it myself. When she left, I told Leon it was time for him to go because I was fed up with both of them. Just in case, I gave him Caddy's parents' contact information and told him to call them if he couldn't reach her and to leave us alone. I said he and Caddy ruined my life and I didn't want to see him hanging around my house anymore. He tried to apologize and said he didn't mean to hurt me, but fell in love with her and couldn't help it. I didn't want to hear it, didn't respond, and he left. I constantly feel lost and don't understand what's happening with my life. I really hope and pray that Leon and Caddy can work things out, because if they do, maybe they'll finally leave me and my daughter alone, and I can start living peacefully again. Right now, I don't understand what's going on, or what I feel mostly nothing, and I can't wait for this to finally be over. Update 4. A couple of days ago, Kadi officially ended our mediation sessions and said she wanted the case to go to court. It's going to end badly for her, and we all know it, but it seems like she's only now starting to realize it. In any case, a few hours ago she came to me with Leon. Apparently, they managed to work things out between themselves. I didn't let her into the house because my daughter was home and wasn't feeling well, and I didn't want to make her feel worse. So I told them to wait at a nearby cafe, called my mom to stay with my daughter, and went to meet them. When I arrived, Caddy or he apologized for everything they put me through, and I had to explain to them again that it didn't matter to me anymore. I just wanted them to go their own way and get to the point of why they called me. I wasn't going to waste time on fake apologies and nonsense, so they got to the point, admitted they messed up, and realized they didn't like Boston at all. Caddy missed our daughter terribly, and Leon missed the feeling of being his own boss. Now, Caddy wanted me to agree to let our daughter visit her every weekend, or at least every other weekend, because she didn't want to lose the life she had. And Leon came up with something brilliant. He wanted to be my business partner again and open a branch in Boston. The best part is they wanted me to decide within a couple of days because Caddy's employers said if she wanted to keep her job, she had to return to remote work and she couldn't wait any longer. So even if I wanted to say I'd think about it, I wouldn't have had the time. I just said I wouldn't agree to any of it. Leon already quit and sold his share, so I wasn't going to take him back. I don't trust him at all. And Caddy's suggestion was absurd. Our daughter shouldn't have to travel back and forth every weekend just to see her mother. She should have thought about that before moving to Boston. It's not my fault at all. They started arguing with me, saying they were ready to compromise because they didn't want to take it to court. I told them the very idea that they could achieve anything in court and win sounded ridiculous. And the only reason they came to me in person was to pressure me. Unfortunately for them, I wasn't weak or foolish enough to fall for it. The only reason I even agreed to meet was to put an end to this whole story. My words immediately cooled their enthusiasm because even they knew they had no chance if it went to court. I said the most I could do was talk to my daughter and try to convince her to at least meet with her mother when she visits, but that's it. I wasn't going to do anything more. So they could either accept my offer or get lost. I wasn't going to waste any more time on them. Caddy looked pretty desperate, so she quickly agreed. I left. I'll talk to my daughter when she feels better, but I won't force her to do anything she doesn't want. If she decides she doesn't want to see her mother anymore, that'll be her decision. I'm definitely not going to push her. Update 5. Hi, it's been a couple of months. In the last update, I wrote that I wasn't going to force my daughter to meet her mother if she didn't want to. After that update, I talked to my daughter, told her what Caddy said, and she replied that she needed some time to think about it. I passed that information to Caddy a couple of months ago, and we haven't spoken since. I don't know if she and Leon managed to work out their fights, and honestly, I don't care at all. But as far as I know, they're still together and living in Boston. Well, let them live. The important thing is they've left me alone, and now I can finally try to rebuild my life. The best revenge is to live well, so I'm just focused on work and raising my daughter to be a good person, not like her mother. I hope I can do that. Well, that's the end of the story. I'm waiting for your opinions in the comments. What do you think? Will Caddy leave the author alone for good? Or will this continue? I think there's a good chance it'll continue, because if things went so badly from the start, they probably won't get better. Still, I'd like the author to have everything work out wonderfully and for them to leave him alone. Thanks for watching this video to the end. Check out our previous video, which you'll see right here, and good luck to you.